A jenom si tak, a klidně tady zas můžeš prostě drcat. Jo.
Tak jo, dobrý.
Harmonická kompozice, ale ať to má nějakou jako agresi v sobě.
Tak jo, můžeme.
Have you been doing a lot of these talks?
Oh yeah, every day. It's like
With all the guests, or?
I did just now with Jan Pinkava.
Yeah.
It was excellent.
Yeah.
He's kind of a smart ass,
He's
isn't
a
he?
smart alley, and he has his way with words.
Yeah. Rosto, I can imagine that people consider your work like dark and depressive and stuff like that. But it's not so simple, isn't it?
For me, it isn't. For me, it is more about the. Some people call it the subconscious. If you're more into the Freudian, Jungian thing, it's the subconscious. But you would say the demonic, deeper depths of our psyche, basically. And by demonic, I don't mean necessarily evil. Demonic is actually a word that comes from Greek, and it means the deeper waters. And my films, in my art basically, I really always try to go there. And cinema is so great at it because it shines a light in the darker areas. That it frightens some people, doesn't really surprise me because we don't often go there, and because it's unknown, it might be slightly frightening. But for me, I'm very comfortable there. I like it there. It's part of us anyway. And I like to use my art and my films because especially cinema is so fucking powerful at doing this, like really going into those deeper realms and meditating on what's going on there. And if you look at my films, you will see that it's not necessarily always evil or violent or something nasty going on there. There's also other things going on there. But I can totally understand it that some people find the journey going there slightly intimidating.
You tend to be quite sarcastic about the Lucifer, aren't you?
About Lucifer?
Yeah, about the devil.
Well, the devil, I do consider myself a Satanist as well as a Jesus freak, but also the devil is very much misunderstood. The devil is not necessarily an evil thing either. My devil, if you want to call him that, I prefer to call him my God and my devil at the same time. In my work is called Virgil. And why is he called Virgil? He's actually called Virgil because of the Dante's Divina Commedia. There is one person that guides Dante through the Inferno, and that's actually Virgil, the Roman poet Virgil. And why is he in hell? Not necessarily because he was a bad dude. He is in hell because Christianity was invented after him. And that already illustrates that it's more ambiguous than just, plain black and white, good versus evil. There are more, Satan was only made evil by the Christians, basically. Because it was all this stuff that they didn't know what to do, all this wildness, all this demonic stuff again. They also made the word demonic something bad. It wasn't originally. It was all the stuff that didn't suit them very well in their doctrines. So anything that they couldn't use in their doctrine, whether it was lust, whether it was, all these darker motivations that people can have, they gave all the good stuff to the devil, basically. And I like that. We need that, especially in art, especially in films, in cinema. We need it. It is always this battle, but especially when they start to mingle, it becomes really, really interesting. And my Virgil is a god and the devil, and it often has my face as well, because I am the god and the devil of my universe. I take my characters because I love them, but then I get joy out of putting them in the most miserable situations, because that's where drama happens.
You hesitated about when I mentioned Lucifer, but I think Lucifer is something like significant for film. You're bringing light, and you're working with time. You're working with rhythm.
Yep.
Does film has like other basic qualities for you?
Yeah. The reason why I love cinema is that, for me, art is about one soul trying to communicate with another. So the mother of all arts, for me personally, is music. because music doesn't need any translation, doesn't need any explanation. If you cry because of music or you feel extremely euphoric because of a piece of music, no one will ever ask you, but why? It doesn't need any further explanation. It's a straight communication between souls. I try to do that with cinema because it's such an immersive medium. You know, it's the only art form where you get together with a bunch of strangers in a dark room and you have a seance. We look at spirits. We really go into those places that might not exist anymore, maybe never existed, whatever, but we believe them as long as the film lasts. That's power, man. That's fucking powerful. So in my films, I try to go there. Instead of using the traditional narrative, you know, which it's always also great at, you know, sit down, I will tell you a story. I will entertain you, or I will try to entertain you. I try not to do that. I try to invite you into my world on a more intuitive level. I want you to feel the films like it's a piece of music and you can just respond to it because it has all this intuitive power and potential. That's what I try to do.
Is there a place where you feel full, content, complete?
What do you mean by place?
Place, I mean like water and trees and all the elements you use for bringing some kind of peace and beauty.
It's not about fullness for me, but you know, because nature is never full. Nature is never in one sort of static moment. Our nature and the nature of reality around us is that it's always in flux. But there are certain constant factors there. Like, I mean, it's kind of interesting that we are with a fountain, because in my universe, there's always a fountain at the center of it. You know, whether you look at the Monster of Nyx, whether you look at Lonely Bones, you know, there's always this fountain in the center of it. And why is this? Because for me, the fountain, for example, is this whole idea of water being recycled. You know, it flows. It's the spring, but it's also, it takes it in again, and then it comes out again. This is where all these things happen and are being recycled. This is basically the motor of it all. And water is extremely important to me. You know, water is my element. If you look at my characters, which are called the Langimeni, which are the forest guys, you know, they are one of my other alter egos. They carry around water, silver water. And why is this? Because my zodiac sign is actually Aquarius. It's the water carrier. So the Langimeni had to carry water, you know, in the center of the forest, in a lake. And again, it's almost like a mirror image of the fountain.
And carries the stories, yeah, as in the Monster of Nyx.
They don't carry the story, but they help hatching the stories. They guard the stories. They protect the stories. Yeah, and stories are an interesting thing. You know, for me, I chose the egg basically, and many kids, because I consider it a film for strange children of all ages. So I also showed it to little kids who I take very seriously, and I actually always get very interesting questions from them. They were asking me, like, so how does it work? How does it work with the eggs and the stories inside? And I told them, you know, in a way, it's very much like the film that you just saw. The story is still there, but nobody's watching. But as soon as you watch, the story comes into existence. And it's the same with the eggs. You know, they are all there, but you don't see them. But as soon as you pick up an egg and you look inside, a story is happening right now, right here.
Never-ending story.
In a way, yes, or never-ending stories.
Thank you a lot.
Pleasure, pleasure. You did very well.
And the peacock as well.
Yeah.